Hello everyone, welcome to the chat room. I'm your host Li Jingjing. The chat room is an online informal debate show trying to forge dialogues between people from different countries and different regions. And I invite you who are watching this live stream now to leave your questions and comments on CGTN's website, Facebook, Twitter, Yangshipin, Bilibili, because we will try to answer your questions later during this live stream. So in the past few days, world leaders gathered together to discuss how different countries can join hands together to deal with climate pollutions, environmental pollutions. And today, in this beautiful garden in Beijing, we also invited several activists, environmental protection activists, to share with us their expertise, their unique observations, and teach us how we can live a low carbon life and how we can make a difference to the world. Actually, they are already upstairs. Let's go meet them. Hello, guys. Hi. Hello. Ooh, looks like you guys are up to something fun. What is this?
Really?
What are you trying to do with this?
Would you guess? So it's grocery paper bag that we're trying to remake it into something more homey and useful.
Wow, okay. Can I learn?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but before I do this, how about all of you briefly introduce yourself to our viewers? How about start with you?
Hi everyone, my name is Ruiqi and I'm a climate and energy expert from an NGO.
Yeah, my name is Jiaojiao. I am an explorer and also the founder of NGO Polar Hub.
Hi everyone, my name is Ducreay, but you can call me Dee. I am a social, economic and educational development expert based in China.
So I'm sure with your expertise today we will have an interesting discussion about what we can do to save the planet. But I think we will start from here. This is the first step that we can do to save the planet, to reduce the pollutions to the world. So okay, I saw some paper bags here.
You can help me.
Sure.
By using the staples.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And then we can just staple from both sides here.
Here,
Yeah.
stable here. Okay. So this is the tissue box.
We can try to put the tissues
Tissues
in.
Yeah.
And see.
And actually, we can also put a roll of tissue.
Right. So that's
nice.
how we're trying to close it.
So it's really a cool way of reusing our paper bags.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you know, my advice is if you are not a handy people like me, don't use the single-use product or use it for a few more times.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like this is perfect because I have a bunch of these paper bags at my home
Yeah.
because China has a plastic ban, and whenever you go shopping, they will use this paper bag. So I have loads of them in the corner of my closet. Don't know what to do with them. So actually, we can. With their different functions, we can turn them into like tissue box, like what we're doing now. But you see this?
Here it is.
If you can still leave this handle here, and I think this can be a tote bag, which is very trendy now, right?
It is.
We can use them to buy bread, for example, because at bread shops they always give you a very thin paper bag that won't last long, but we can carry our own. So even though they look disposable, but actually we can give them more life.
That is very true.
Yeah.
And also we could use this and donate it to others who might need some help as well. You can donate it to the schools and it could be used for arts and crafts too.
I like that idea.
Very inspiring. And okay, so we have a lot of stuff on the table. What about this? I will move this to this side. You see, we have some colorful garbage bins here. If you live in China, you will notice these garbage bins of 4 colors in every neighborhood because China is trying to promote garbage recycling. But before recycling, we really need to classify different garbage into different bins, because if we put them into the round box, then even the recyclables will be unrecyclable.
Right.
So, okay, how about let's do this game, because we have some cards featuring different products here. The normal garbage that we will see in our life, and we will try to see which one should go to which bins.
That sounds fun.
I wonder how much do you know about the garbage?
Well, let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so we have 4 boxes. The red one is toxic garbage. Green one, kitchen waste. Gray one is other garbage. And this is recyclable, that recycled. So, honestly, I didn't know there are so many different kinds of garbage before this. So maybe we can do the tests. Each of us can get some.
Right.
Thank you.
And then we have some over there.
Oh, wow. Okay, some already taken out some. Cool. How about I will choose 3 to ask you guys, and you can also ask me.
Okay.
I'm not very good at tests, actually.
Yeah, don't fail me.
Okay, we can do it.
I know, like, different countries have been adopted this garbage recycling for a long time. But actually, recycle the garbage is not as easy as we thought. You will see later why it's not easy. Okay, what I got? Let's see. I've got 3. I've got 3 in my hands. So first one, banana peels.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah,
that must be kitchen.
Yeah.
Should be kitchen, right?
Yeah,
the
that's
green one
kitchen.
is the
Yeah,
kitchen
yeah,
waste, right?
yes.
Okay. Second one, expired cosmetics.
Oh.
Well, for this one, it's a little bit of a challenge because you have to think about what type of products we use or materials we use when creating this cosmetics. Now, if you're thinking of the traditional set with the packaging that's plastic and so forth, of course it would be recyclable, right? Now, if there are organizations like Inbar that use bamboo to do their cosmetics and even products, I think that in that way, it's a little bit challenging. I want to even challenge this card. What type of product is
Like, I think that what's inside those boxes should go to the toxic garbage,
Right.
but the
Yes.
plastic boxes should go to the recyclable.
Recyclable.
yeah.
Right,
Right.
correct.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
Yeah.
tear that apart. So for now,
Just
okay,
joking.
maybe we should put into the toxic?
Which one is the toxic?
The red one, the most alarming one. Okay, yeah. Let's see. Okay.
Okay.
Also got one hair dryer.
Oh, that one's hard.
That's a
Yeah.
little bit hard.
Yeah.
Oh, hair dryer. It has metal. It has plastic. Wow.
Yeah.
And the wires.
The wires.
Yeah.
The wires.
Yeah.
I think it's usually wires are. Is it considered recyclable or?
Yeah, I think so.
It
So
is?
maybe we just put it in
It's
the
either
recyclable
other
box.
or recyclable.
So
Yeah.
we should recyclable or others? Which one should we? Dun, 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 dun.
Recyclable.
Okay. What do you got?
Okay, so I got these eye drops. So how do you think eye drops?
Again, if it has chemicals in it already, right? So then, of course, you'd put it in the toxic waste. But if it's an empty product and it is plastic, we always want to promote the reuse of plastic, right? So then that would be recyclable.
Right.
But to be on the safe side, because there is maybe some residue
Yeah.
of these chemicals in that packaging, it would be toxic. Toxic
Okay.
waste, yeah.
Toxic.
I agree.
You agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's put in.
That's it.
And let's try a little bit harder one. That's coconut shell.
Coconut.
Because I made a mistake before.
Really? I
Yeah.
think it just should go to the kitchen waste.
I was thinking the same thing.
If there's a lot of coconut residue there, it probably them should go to the kitchen waste. But if it's only the shell, it might be a little bit too hard for the kitchen waste machine to decompose them, right?
Really?
Yeah, it could be.
That's something new, actually. I didn't know that. So what would you usually do with the shell of the coconut?
I think they would go into other, unfortunately.
So let's check later.
Okay,
So
okay,
yeah.
sure.
Okay.
Okay, we've got some. Let's get them out. How many we get? Okay, the recyclable ones, we got hair dryer. Do you get the answer? We have a little book with all the correct answers.
Hair dryer.
Hair dryer.
I think it's recyclable.
We go to the recyclable. Can we find? Yes!
Oh.
We find hair dryer in the recyclable ones. We got this one right.
Good job, guys.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. It has metal, it has plastic, it has wire. Wow, but we got it right. Okay. This one, we got the coconut shells. Others.
Coconut shell. Dun, 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 dun.
Others, we got it right too. So why? Why does it know why coconut shells should go to the others? To me, like before this game, I thought it's a no-brainer. It should go to kitchen waste. But really, because
I think because this plant fiber, it's so hard and thick and have high in density, it can actually very hard for the machine to break. You know, some of the other food residues or banana peels are much softer.
that's why we heard like coconut. Some people actually murdered by coconut dropping from the trees.
You have to be careful.
Yeah, and I think it's the same when you deal with the shell
For
and also the
seafood shells.
seafood
Yeah.
Should not go to kitchen waste. Also others.
Right,
Yeah. Wow.
right.
So then this is something we actually learned today, right?
Yeah.
The importance of the shell.
Okay.
Very important.
Yeah.
Well, I think we got, so these two are actually almost no-brainer. Very interesting. You see, even though this looks like a game for kids, it's not. Like adults like us are inspired, are learning something new every time we play this. So recycling and protecting the environment is not as easy as we thought in some way. But you know what? Like we are learning, trying to learn this knowledge, but there are a lot of people actually living a low carbon life. So we have some KOLs and vloggers make some vlogs featuring how are they living their low carbon life. Let's take a look.
"14 years ago, just right after my birth, my mom started to find out a better lifestyle to improve my life and future. And this is where the story begins.
She is my mom, the center of sustainable lifestyle in my home and my family. In her community, people called her 环保大姐, meaning the leader of recycling. With her leading, not only my family, many people around me started to do recycle. And for this video, I want to divide it into 3 parts, which is reduce, reuse, and recycle. First, reduce. Reduce can be simply described as reducing trashes. We will bring our bags when buying foods, having a tableware kit when we are traveling to reduce disposable chopsticks. Since it will produce a large amount of waste paper when using tissue paper, she made a handkerchief by herself using leftover clothes. Second, reuse. We will reuse all our plastic bags until they are broken. Foods from those farms will be less packaged or packaged with our own packages. Also, she will buy some second-hand accessories to decorate our home. Third, the most importantly, recycle. With the help from other organizations, we can send our trashes to them and they will make further disposal. Waste parcels can be recycled by local companies. They will reuse those parcels. Also, to reduce carbon dioxide producing in the air, We instead make fertilizer ourselves. There's a composer in my home. It will produce soils, and days after you put your food waste inside it. However, these soils need to be decomposed again by worms after getting it out of the composer. After that, they become real soils. Also, for leaves in my garden, we rather put leaves together and naturally decompose them. Leaves fallen in the first winter can be fertilizer for the second summer. In my mom's point of view, recycling is always a way to reduce pain in life. Although it seems causing some small issues in daily life, but in large way, it can avoid a series of large issues which could be fatal for mankind.
买东西的时候，我会带上自己的容器，比如轻食袋和饭盒。轻食袋会比较便携，饭盒比较抗压。我会带着它们在散装区里，自己需要多少装多少。不能散装买的物品，我会去买它的最大包装，省钱的同时也可以减少塑料垃圾。像零食这种，我会买超大包装的混合坚果。如果外出有补充能量的需要，我会放在硅胶袋里。外出吃饭的时候，我会用自己的餐具、手帕和水杯。自己带餐具除了更加环保外，也会比较卫生安全。带环保袋是每个人都知道的环保常识，但是总会忘记，就像我们现在出门都不会忘记带口罩和手机一样，这就是一个习惯养成的问题。带环保袋的习惯也是只要是有心就可以养成的。秋天是最适合骑车的季节，以前的我很喜欢去健身房，后来发现如果把运动融入到通勤里面，会更加容易坚持。大家旅游的时候也可以多去光顾二手店，在这里可以感受到这座城市的历史。商场里卖的东西大多千篇一律，二手店里卖的才更能体现当地的文化和审美。像这样子的店，每座城市里面都有，因为只要是有人的地方，就会有闲置物品的产生，大家检索关键词就可以找到。最后一点想要跟大家分享的就是我们生活中总是有的时候不可避免的会收到一些一次性的塑料，但其实这些塑料到底是不是一次性的，是由我们自己来决定的。就比如说我每次去买鸡蛋的时候都会用到这样一个塑料盒子，因为我觉得只有塑料盒子才能够做到一个是非常好的保护我的鸡蛋，另外一个呢就是非常的轻巧便携，也很方便清洗。我们都知道塑料这种材质是需要成百上千年才可以得到降解的，那么这样一个非常坚固的材料为什么只是一次性的呢？
Very interesting lifestyles. And we also have a guest joining us today online. His name is Joe Harvey. He's the co-founder of a social enterprise focusing on zero waste. So, Joe, how are you living a low carbon life?
Hello there, CGTN. I'm Joe Harvey. I'm the co-founder of The Bulk House. The Bulk House is a zero-waste social enterprise, and we started the first zero-waste store in China. We changed ourselves at home. My girlfriend and I, we started living a zero-waste lifestyle. You might have seen we put kind of basically like 3 to 6 months worth of trash all in a jar, and anything in that jar is things that cannot be recycled. So we don't order Waimai. We deleted the Waimai apps a very long time ago. I've used cars like, I don't know, a couple of times this year and only a couple of times last year. Now, admittedly, that's due to kind of change in the whole world situation where we haven't been leaving Beijing, but generally I try not to use a car. I cycle to work. If I'm going across the city, then I'll cycle or take the subway. I try not to use a taxi or a Didi. I don't own a car. I think owning a car in a city is quite a pointless action. You you generally get more stressed out. It costs you a lot of money. It's bad for the environment. It's much nicer to cycle and get out in some air. And maybe you get a bit hot, maybe you get a bit cold, but we're humans and we're meant to have a bit of struggle in life. But a struggle actually makes us a lot happier.
Interesting. Thank you, Joe. And actually, I have to say, I was very surprised to see so many people living such a low carbon life because, well, we are all enjoying the convenience of technology. And the reason we have amazing panel like you guys is because all of you have been working in environmental protection for so many years. And later we will have a discussion answering some key issues that are related to environmental protection. But first, can each of you introduce to all viewers, what do you do exactly and what motivated you to do this environmental protection jobs? I will start with you, Ruiqi.
I'm currently working in an environmental organizations. I'm trying to push the major IT companies to switch towards renewable energy from their current reliance on fossil fuel. It's quite important. Since I was a kid, I was fascinated by world problems and what's bigger problem than climate change and what's bigger issues than energy at the cornerstone of climate solutions. So we really need to get rid of our reliance on coal, and that's what I'm trying to work on at the moment.
Thank you. Jojo?
Yeah, and what with the Polar Hub team is doing is using the scientific expedition to study climate change. So my team and I traveled to the glacier and the polar regions to support the research team by sampling and drilling the ice core from the glacier, because the glacier is the most sensitive and visible indicators for the global warming. But I was a consultant actually for the advisory company, but I started my mountaineering career from since college. And in 2015, I rafted the Ganges rivers in India together with the other 7 women from different countries. And we talk about the water protection via our expedition. So the expedition actually makes the nature a very important part of our life. So my husband and I, who is also in the line of mountaineering, we saw the quickly melting of the glacier. So we decided to quit our jobs and did something for Mother Nature.
Wow, impressive. Actually quit your other jobs to do environmental protection. Very impressive. What about you, Dee?
So after hearing your story, it's quite inspiring. My story is very different. I've been in China for 15 years now.
Wow.
So I have been able to witness the fast development of this country. And now I'm currently working under the Belt and Road Initiative. I'm focusing on the youth development segment. For me, I want to bring the more grassroots effort to bring awareness, educate the youth, because we are this generation. How can we contribute to global development for the shared future and prosperity of mankind, like what President Xi Jinping is always encouraging us to do? Why I am into environmental protection is that I live it every day. I come from the beautiful nature island of the Commonwealth of Dominica, which is located in the Caribbean. We are at the front line of this. Our region has been attacked, and I will use the word attacked, by hurricanes countlessly for the past 10 years. If it's not a hurricane, it's volcanic eruption. In 2015, my island was affected by Tropical Storm Erica. Then in 2017, by Hurricane Maria, Category 5. This devastated 200% of our GDP. Can you imagine that type of devastation? So in the region, we know what it feels like to fight and to be affected by this climate crisis. So as to why, there is no why. This is my reality.
very powerful answer I have to say, because a lot of you probably haven't experienced the climate change firsthand, but there are people are at the front line suffering the consequences, severe consequences of our human actions. So that's why we are having this dialogue, this conversation to talk about these pressing issues. And here I have few boards. This is some buzzword online, all related to environmental protection. So what are we gonna do next is we will choose random buzzword here and we'll elaborate on that, because probably not all of our viewers really understand the meaning behind each buzzword. Okay, I will start with myself. Okay. Am I holding that? Can you see that clearly? Okay. I think we'll just start with this one. I have small hands. I cannot hold all the parts properly. I'm sorry. Okay. COP26, the current buzzword, because in the past few days, all the world leaders gathered in Glasgow in the UK try to find solutions, how different countries can work together to find a solution, join hands to deal with climate change, environmental pollution. And this is the UN Climate Change Conference of parties, and this year is the COP26. But why we have to care about it? Because for most people just think that's just world leaders gathered together and it's not related to our life. Why it's important? Can any of you answer that question?
I'll try.
Okay.
So, this may sound very abstract, but actually it is the only global forum in the world where the leaders can talk about climate crisis. And we can imagine a world without this conference. Then we probably won't have countries submitting or committing to carbon neutrality. And we won't be here sitting and talking about climate crisis and the commitments. And every COP is a little different, but Glasgow matters more because it's the deadline. We agreed in 2016 in Paris that every country will submit their national determined commitment. So this is the deadline where every country will deliver their commitment. But we do have a problem. We are short for the emission cuts needed to hit the 1.5 degree path. And not just the ambition is short, but also the money is short. So that's another important issue for this year, is the 100 billion US dollars that could go from richer nations to less developed ones to help address the impact. So it hasn't been settled yet, and that's why it's so important this year.
Indeed.
Right.
And Dee, what's your thought on this?
Well, for COP26, when I hear this, it always brings me back to what you mentioned, the Paris Agreement, because at that time, 2016, that was a year before Tropical Storm Erica, and then a year after Hurricane Maria for my island. So can you imagine that I'm hearing Paris Agreement, our world leaders coming together, making these promises, then we're hit again by Hurricane Maria. After COP26 comes, and it's a little bit bittersweet, because I think that, yes, it is important, but it's not only now is a deadline. The deadline has already passed. We are at survival mode. We need to see action, because if we don't see action, cultures like mine will disappear. And we need to really have the leaders feel that, not only as from a leadership perspective, but from a human perspective, because we all want to thrive together as a people. And it is the hope that COP26 this year, especially throughout this COVID pandemic, that our views, our value system has reshifted. To become one.
Dee just mentioned some of the climate crisis that she experienced in her country. So, Jiaojiao, you are an adventurer. You went to different parts of the world. So, I'm wondering, what's your observations of the climate change? What changed in the past 30 years?
Yeah, although more and more people have already realized the importance of the environmental issues, and in certain areas, for example, the air pollution in our city has decreased, and also for a river, the water quality has been improved. But you know, the Earth is a huge system as a whole. So the local improvement doesn't mean that's the overall improvement for the Earth, Mother Earth. And we focus on the glacier because glaciers store the Earth's memory, and all the information about the climate change is locked up in ice. So it tells us a lot from the ice core. For example, in 1879, and the ASO4 increased in the ice, and that means the human activities has already infected the climate or atmosphere. And also in 2005, we find more and more serious fire happened in the world. And also, 2 years ago, the scientists find 29 new viruses from the ice in Tibetan Plateau, and we also find the black carbon from the glaciers of over 7,000 meters. That means the pollutant has already affected our upper atmosphere.
Wow.
Yeah, and on the other hand, the glaciers was melting quickly. We always think about that the Earth is covering, the Earth's pole areas is covering by ice as a norm. But in the fact, 90% of the, it's a 4.6 billion lifespan, Earth has been ice-free. So it means the temperature of the ice always changes. But these changes we talk about, it's depends on the time scale, of hundreds of millions of years. But it never happened that so many changes, the temperature rise so much during the past century or less than 30 years in the past. Yeah, that's a warning for us.
Wow, a lot of pressing issues that we probably just don't realize in our life. That's why we need to do the next hashtag, I think. Yeah, that's why the COP26 is important. But we have so many buzzwords that were related to all these issues. I will have you guys to choose the buzzword.
Can I go?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So net
zero, definitely a buzzword. We hear this buzzword online all the time. But what does it mean? What does it really mean? Can you tell us?
So net zero actually means that the balancing between emitting carbon and absorbing carbon. However, it may not sound as simple as it is, because today we are, as a humankind, emitting so much carbon in the last 30 years that we are way passing the limits of the planet's natural ability to absorb those. Meaning in the soil system, forest and ocean systems to naturally absorb them. It's way past the limit. So that's why what we need to do and focusing on is directly cut the emission. So just emit less. And how? The most important thing is to transition our energy system towards a low carbon energy system, which is fully consists of renewable energy. And that's why net zero is so important. And it's also the commitment for each country that submitted this year for deadline to submit that how much they are going to cut. That's why it's so important. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it's about protecting the place that we call home. So it's about less of everything. Wildfires, less melting of ice, less warming of the oceans, and disappearing of the wildlife. So that's why it's so important, and it's just not a future threat. It's not like it's just only in Tibetan, in the mountains. In Beijing, we can feel it too. Yes. You know, this year we have so much rain, we have sandstorms, and we have early snow. It's changing, and we have longer flowers blooming time, and we have experiencing more allergy for longer. So that's not just far, it's here, it's in the city as well.
Yeah. Exactly. Actually, we did experience extreme weathers here and there. For example, flood in Germany, in Jingjing province, in China, but we also have wildfires in Australia, California. So extreme weathers are happening everywhere.
Right.
So that's why carbon neutrality is very important. And also China made a commitment to reach carbon neutrality by 2060. And I think I would just also pass this question to our online guest, Joe. So why reach the carbon neutrality is important, and how can we benefit from net zero?
So if we don't fix carbon neutrality, we're going to have a lot more wars. We're going to have people displacement around the world because they will have to move from where they live. We'll have many island countries that will no longer exist. The water will rise and will cover them. Areas of Florida and New York and all sorts of low-lying areas around the Netherlands, for example, a very low-lying country, they'll be completely covered in water. So we must fix our carbon problem, and we just had COP26 in Glasgow this week, and it's not looking good. Everyone's saying we're not going anywhere near the targets that we need to be hitting, and this is due to mine and yours and everyone's lifestyle, okay? So if you haven't started with any sort of environmental action, please start now, but please be careful not to do things which aren't environmental but people are saying are environmental. Please only buy what you need. Please really only buy what you need. What makes you happy, okay? And if you have things in your home that you don't need, declutter them and you'll feel better. And pick something to start with. It could be switch to a bamboo toothbrush, something very small like that. Get yourself a reusable bottle, some sort of reusable vessel so you can get drinks. Take some bags with you when you go shopping. These are small things which aren't huge environmental checks per person. But if we can get millions of people in Beijing and then tens of millions of people across China to do this, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people doing this, then we'll actually be able to make a difference to the environment.
Thank you, Joe. Very helpful advices. Do any of you want to add something to this?
Well, for me here, I would always want to add something because I feel like I am a warrior. I am a soldier. And if I do not say something or continue to raise awareness, then I would not be doing my job. For net zero, I think the issue with this term is that it's being overused but not understood. So when you're using terms like net zero, carbon neutrality, and all of these huge terms, no one really gets what you mean. What I would advise is that look at your audience and treat them as if they were kids, that they were in kindergarten. How would you tell a kindergarten student what is net zero? What can they do? And that's what I would advise everyone, even the world leaders, because I even suspect the world leaders might not even truly, not all of them, they depend on their experts to really break it down for them. So when I see net zero and I hear about net zero, it reminds me of a lot of countries that have actually used COVID-19 pandemic and use it as a way of reimagining what economic development means. Look at Amsterdam. In the beginning of this year, Amsterdam has actually redefined their economy by using the donut economics theory. They have been actually thinking about how to reuse reusable products, just like what we did earlier on with the paper bags, right? How can we use that to create more jobs, to create an equitable environment so that people can have equal opportunity at a low waste, right? So it's definitely inspiring to see countries like Amsterdam moving the way forward. It might not be perfect, but at least it's something that they're trying to do. Even China, in the recent agreement with America, and we all know about the tension between America and China, but the fact that these two giants, and they are two giants of the world, came together and said, we have made a commitment. This gives us hope.
Yeah. If we don't deal with the climate change, these pressing issues, we won't have these tensions even. So if there's no Earth, we won't even fight with each other economically or whatever. So that's why it's important. Maybe we can choose one last buzzword. We still have some time in this section. Any of you want to choose?
Okay, we do that. Okay, so let me try. Maybe this one.
Yeah.
Climate crisis.
Yes.
Climate crisis. Actually, all of us mentioned a little the climate crisis. Either do you face in your country, you saw in your adventures, and the extreme weathers across the world. But wondering what kind of human behaviors that led to all this climate crisis that we saw. So any of you want to share?
Yes, because I just remember that the IPCC released its reports in August, and it states very clearly that the human activities is the main cause of the climate, the global warming. And it also showed that the CO2, the concentration of the CO2 reached its peak at the highest level in the at least past like 3 million years. Yeah, so the greenhouse gas is emission is the main cause, I think. Yeah.
So for me, climate crisis, what can we do as humans to really address this issue? First, we're doing it already by this panel. And one thing I have to say that I'm so proud that we're all women here, really pushing the agenda for women empowerment and including women in the discussion. And also our fellow feminist, I would call him a feminist online. But aside from that, we have to remember that we are humans. And yes, the world has its natural climate change, but us as humans has accelerated it. How have we accelerated? It's based on our value system. Earlier on, you mentioned the addiction to the way that we live. How can we even think of living another way, right? But when you hear stories about other countries reinventing how they view their own progress, it gives us hope that we as humans can redefine how we progress, how we combat everything, how we see it. It's really based on our value system. So the purpose, when addressing climate crisis, we have to look at ourselves and see what our value systems are in order to be able to move forward.
Yeah, very well said. Although we have an all-women team, we do have a gentleman online.
Yes,
Let's ask this question to our gentleman. So, Joe, what's your thought? Like, what kind of human behaviors led to the climate crisis, and what can we do about it?
And we need people to think about what's actually important, what really makes them happy. And a very important topic is the rise of influencers, KOLs, celebrities. In China, using websites like Xiaohongshu and Douyin and all of this to push for people to buy more. Most messages, most videos that are out there from KOLs and influencers, the main point of the video, although maybe educational at times, is the idea that you will then buy a product, and that's why that KOL is being given so much money to be on that platform by different brands. And usually it's quite manipulative. Usually, I mean, almost always it's manipulative. It doesn't get people to empower themselves and question themselves. Do they really need this item? Would this make their life better? Can they afford this item? Have you considered the environment before purchasing this? I can give you a statistic from America that the average family home from the 1950s until now has tripled in size. It's tripled in size. Whilst at the same time, the external storage industry has turned into $1 billion business. That means that we're filling our homes with so much stuff that then we don't have any more room for those stuff, and then we're having to send those things to an external storage industry, external storage house, and leave it there because we're buying so many things.
I can't agree more. I just moved my apartment 2 months ago. And that's the moment you realize you have so much stuff that you don't really need. I have some boxes, some drawers of stuff I just completely throw away because I don't need them anymore. But I try to, okay, this is like doing too much damage, adding too much garbage to the earth. So I sold a lot of stuff on the second-hand platforms. So, and also recycled a lot of books to those who need it. They can donate to schools. So I realized over-purchasing is an issue that causes.
I want to jump in a little bit. I think the overconsumption not just happens with clothes and fashion, even sometimes food. I want to highlight that the gadgets that we use, cell phones or headphones and such, could also be a problem of overconsumption. You know, I was going back into my home and I found a cell phone that I used since 10 years ago. So, you know, these cell phones and electronic gadgets are very hard to recycle and decompose. If we just left them in the soil, you know, that the heavy metals are toxic for the water as well. And we need to take them back to the brand, get them recycled. And most importantly, we don't need to change our phones every 2 years. We need to expand the lifespan of the products, right?
We also need to tell all those enterprises who came out with a new phone every year, new phone, new laptop, new everything.
I really just need to jump in here because the reason why this is happening is based on human behavior. They are studying the market and studying what human wants. What is the social construct, right? We as humans created this social construct, created this reality. So if we actually want to change, it is up to us. But we cannot keep on blaming this person and that person. We have to come together and take accountability because it's not only because of corporations. This is a cause and effect action. And if we want change, we have to start from ourselves. If we say that, okay, as a people, as a human race, we're going to say that we are going to put the planet into the conversation as a key stakeholder. Why I'm always saying this phrase is because I hear something.
Maybe our viewers can hear. There's a cat meowing.
Exactly.
The cat really wants to jump in this conversation.
It does. And this also reminds me that, can you imagine if the planet had a voice in these conversations?
Right.
Can you imagine what they would say? Because if you're talking about like connectivity, the reason why there's cell phones, there is connectivity. You're creating the technology for humans to connect with each other. But when you're doing this connectivity, this innovation, you are forgetting one key element: the planet.
Right.
How are you putting the planet a part of this connectivity conversation? Can you imagine that when you talk about technology, there is technology already in nature. Dolphins communicate, plants communicate, the birds and the bees, right?
Yeah.
So we really need to look at us, look at the social construct and think, what is the next step forward?
So really, I'm sorry, but I can give you more time later, but because we're running out of time. Sorry, Jiaojiao, but I promise you I'll give you more time later during the debate. Because now I like to give this time to our viewers who are watching this live stream now. Because leave your comments. How are you living a low carbon life? Is there some techniques that all of us can implement it in our daily lives? So leave your comments on CGTN's website, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Yangshiping, Weibo, so many different social network platforms. Leave comments. Later, we will try to read out your comments, read out your methods. But you know what? We talk about so many buzzwords. I'm just wondering, how are the public, how most people in the society, do they understand the meaning of these terms? So to find out the answer, actually our reporters hit it straight, ask a few people what's their thoughts. So let's take a look.
I really thought he was.
It's do or die right now for the future of the planet. So hopefully the leaders who come together there are able to make a deal.
No, I don't know anything about it.
A lot. I'm a journalist. I report on China's climate efforts.
I know also that China didn't participate, so yeah, that's a big thing.
I just heard about it, yeah. Apart from some politicians going there to talk about climate change and then going back to their countries in their own private planes.
COP26 is in the UK, which is where I'm from, so we're really proud to be hosting the latest climate conference.
I don't have any knowledge about that.
I think one is waste of energy. The other one is using coal or using any fossil fuels. That the government gives money to build new coal power plants. I think that should be stopped everywhere in the world.
Warming, but of course along with that, the acidification of the oceans is probably a huge one too, along with just plastic pollution as well. I think it's really hard because of the pandemic. I haven't really flown anywhere in the last 2 years, so that's probably been my single biggest contribution.
Well, to be honest, I haven't tried because I'm still here. So the first step would be leave a city like this, right, and live in something smaller.
I'm aware of it. If I'm traveling and it's not too far, I can do it by train.
Yes, so it's very strong, yeah.
We can all make small changes so you don't keep buying new stuff every single time. So I really believe it starts at home.
Stop driving car as much as possible. I walk, I fly much less, and I try to save energy at home.
The biggest thing that individuals do is travel, right? So flying, driving. I don't drive here, I try to bike.
Deliveries, right? Like now, everything we receive at home, it's very comfortable, but the amount of plastic that is being produced for that, it's maybe double than before that. I
think excessive use of energy and excessive use of coal.
Plastic consuming, excess consuming, like when you buy things that you don't really need.
Sorry, I didn't hear about that.
We don't produce more carbon than to keep increasing the damage.
Basically, it's the idea that you can produce and emit more carbon if you have offsets, essentially. I know it's really controversial among environmentalists. I mean, I think the way to save the planet right now is stop burning fossil fuels.
It's a very important concept. China wants to do it in 2060. And everybody else hopes that China would do it earlier.
It's supposed to just be stepping away from carbon, or the use of carbon, trying to go green in the use of energy.
Of course, carbon neutrality is really important, and so we're educating a lot of our students.
I think leaders are right to have a lot of faith and confidence in young people, but I think that's they're absolving themselves of responsibility by doing that as well.
I think we rely on the next generation, definitely, because I think the old generation, it's very hard to change, like lifestyle, right?
I think we need innovation today, not in the next generation. I think next generation is too late.
I think we all need to change a bit. Like it's not only for the young or the old, or the companies of the people. We all need to do our part.
Both, right? Of course, both. So I think innovation is the key, and so yes, innovation will get us there, but we have to take responsibility for those in the older generation that they also must change their lifestyle and accept responsibility.
Looks like there are indeed some people who have no idea what's COP26, what's causing the damage to the world, but there are actually a lot of people have a deep analysis and even complaints about COP26. So I like the clashes of opinions of people on the street, and this is what we're gonna do next. We will have a heat debate on some key issues. As you can see, we're all having this toy, this prop with us. This toy has two sides. So later, what we will do is I will ask a question. If you agree, if you think that's what we should do, turn the smiley faces, the pink side. If you think it's a no, I don't disagree with it, turn the sad face. Right? Ready for some debate? All right, okay, let's go. My first question is, do conferences like COP26 really help environmental protection? I will stay with this side. I don't think no, maybe somewhere in the middle, but a little bit towards the green side.
I'm completely in the middle.
In the middle, okay. You agree that's important?
It's very
in the
struggling
middle.
to pick a side.
All right, so since I'm a little bit green, because here's about like COP26. Of course, world leaders gather together, talk about these pressing issues is important, and also China and US signed this agreement, which is very promising. We see the hope, but we also saw so many world leaders travel to Glasgow with their private jets, and so many European leaders traveled using private jet unnecessarily often. And what else? Some leaders drove a 85-car motorcade through the city of Glasgow. That is contradict to what we are trying to achieve to solve the problem. So, do you think? I don't know. I think in some way it's kind of a little hypocritical.
Well, listen.
Yeah.
Okay. But listen, first you have to understand that we are humans. So we need to talk. We need to communicate, right? And even in fact, we are humans that are spread across the world. So we are experiencing this climate change at different rates, right? So maybe at one region, something might work that can be implemented at another region, right? So this is where the communication needs to happen. But, and that is where this comes in, is that we have to also be examples, lead through our examples. We are complaining that there is climate change. We want to reach net zero. We want to at least reach 1.5. All throughout COP26, 1.5 has been stressed every single time. Your actions should be able to translate to that. Why is it necessary that you travel there face to face? I know that throughout the session they gave us a reason, but there are representatives, I am sure, that are based there already. It could have happened with those representatives, and an extension to the world leaders could be made via online. So yes, communication is needed, but it's going back to what I said earlier on, is the value system. We need to put the planet first. And how do we put the planet first? If you're saying that you want to do these commitments, then show us through your actions and not only your words. This is only what we only ask for.
Jojo, what about you? Because you think it will make a change.
No. Yeah. The reason I choose the smiling face, because I think the COP26 is very helpful, because it gives us a big encouragement, or we say the powerful sign of global cooperation. As we mentioned that we regard the Earth is a huge system. And I think the climate change also were systematic problems. How we solve this problem effectively, it should be relied on the global cooperation. So at this conference, we're not only focusing on the leaders or the goal, the countries determined contribution to these issues. We also focus on how many people give their contribution, like how many voices to be heard during this conference, like the voice of women, the voice of the younger generations, and the people who are suffering from the climate crisis, like Li and her countries. That's very important for us. And I think it's the climate change issues it's not a matter of the change of action. It's more about the matter to change our awareness or value. So it gives us a chance to change our awareness, and which allow people in different fields to have their own climate action, and that will lead to more inspiration and the solutions.
I just want to come in and say that I agree with you, yes. Yet we also need to be responsible as to our own emissions individually. Yes to communication, no to emission.
Yes.
Yes.
Like you can just use 1 or 2 cars if you have to go there. There's no need for 85 cars for just 1 or 2 people, right?
or even use the, if it's your cars, you can use cars, but use the electric cars or something like this. Or if you know that you need to travel, then I cannot attend at this moment.
Yeah. You know what? My family switched to electric cars just a few months ago.
Congratulations.
And it's good. And not only because we have different policies in Beijing, if you get an electric car, you have the plate that you can travel without limits across Beijing.
That's good policy.
Right?
It's a very good incentive.
Yeah. So it's really good. So there were policies, and also we saved so much money from oil. You know that it's good for the environment, it's good for your pocket.
Yeah.
But do you know, like when we were listening to the everyday people that were interviewed, you could hear this common consensus that they believe that not using cars
in a city.
But actually you can use cars. It's the type of car you use.
Yeah. Very interesting debate, but sorry, since you choose the same with D. Later, let's see the second question, whether you can join up, give more inputs. The second question is, okay, are you ready? Should we slow down the speed of the development of modern technology? Should there be concessions made for environmental protection? What's your answer? 1, 2, 3. Smiley face is no, we don't need to make concessions. Sad face is yes, we need to make concessions or slow down. So I think this.
Oh.
You're again in the middle?
I'm in the middle because I agree with one part and disagree with another part.
Which is, okay, why?
Yeah.
Why do you think we should slow down or make concessions?
It's a simple action. We just need to stop burning more coal, switch our energy system towards a more renewable one. So in that sense, I would sadly be saying that we need to abandon some of the technology. I'm not saying all of them, but just simple. Some must be abandoned in order for us to achieve the 1.5 degree goal. That's why I'm showing this sad face. We are burning more than we need, and we should stop building more. And I know that our country have committed to stop investing more new coal power plants along the Belt and Road Initiative, but we should do more. If it's not running necessarily, then don't even need to build more. But the current ones should have a phase-out plan, and we should also have a plan for the coal workers to switch their jobs as well. Nobody should go study this major at this moment.
Exactly.
Right.
I agree.
Jiaojiao, you choose the smiley face. You think we don't need to slow down?
Yeah.
How come?
Yeah, absolutely. Just as the answer is, it's impossible that we we live without technology now, and it's impossible that we go back to that purely agriculture time. Yes, let's go back to the human instinct. The human instinct is to explore. So we should be very grateful that our ancestors, they keep going to exploring and to making the breakthroughs, so that all the different development bring us to the time today that we enjoy the convenience of the technology bring to us. But we ignore a very important the basic question is all the development depends on how we understand and use the nature resource, including the use of the fossil fuels. So we need some time, and we should keep going to understand the planet we live, and we also give some time to the development of the technology. So you also can imagine that the smartphone, the application of the smartphone is just 10 years out. It has changed our life a lot. So we just need our science-based goal and the nature-based solutions.
It sounds, the reason why I'm in between is because of the two responses right here. Because one part is you cannot hold back the human ingenuity. We have yet to reach the full capacity of our mind, right? But at the same time, the latter part is environment. I agree that we should consist on that, but I also agree that we should not hold back the human capacity. So I see this question in two parts. I would agree one way and remove another way.
I think we humans took so many centuries to evolve into the current stage, but I think we don't have to abandon what we achieved, but we have to rethink. We have to slow down. We don't need that many phones every year, or we still can use technology, just different technology. For example, change gas cars to the electric cars. So you still got cars, but it's better for the environment.
But I might have very good solutions for this condition. That's because the way we live with the technology is so far away from the nature. But if you have some more time in nature and switch on your phone, so to pay more attention about the close relationship with your friend or your family, that will be great. Let's go back to nature.
So now it's almost like you're bringing up another topic that even in society we're seeing. The purpose of these technologies to connect people, but now it has become a way of disconnecting people at the same time. I mean, how can we find that balance? And especially with this growing technology and this need for social media, and then you need this approval and this addiction for the likes. How can we have this generation revert back to, okay, let's enjoy a quiet time? I would, of course, because I come from the nature aisle. We love the quiet time. But it's more of, like you said, the balance. We need to find that balance in between, and that comes with our education system. How we mold the generation. And when I say education system, I'm not only talking about the schools. Workplaces are education systems as well. The society is an education system. How we are speaking right now, we are constantly learning from each other and taking our cues. If we can find a way to incorporate what we are trying to do and what we need to do and put it in together, what a beautiful world that would be.
Indeed.
Yes. I really like all of your answers to this question. Now let's move on to our next topic. Third topic. Okay. Who is responsible for global environmental pollution? The developed countries or developing countries? So maybe we choose the sad face as developing countries, okay? Sad face as developing countries, the smiley face as developed countries. Oh, shall we reverse? The pink one. The smiley face as developing countries.
I see that we're all in
Okay. The smiley face as developing countries, and give developing countries a chance, okay? And sad face is for developed countries. And okay, all of you are in the middle.
Yeah.
Listen, we are one world, okay? So everyone has to be accountable for each other's actions. No matter if you're developed or developing, we are in this together and we're equally responsible. So in order to move forward, we need to work together.
Okay, so because I have a different opinion from all of you, I'll explain myself. Because I know a lot of countries, world leaders, are blaming developing countries for emitting CO2 into the world, and all this blaming developing countries with the damage it caused to the world. But they are neglecting the fact that they created like 50 years ago, when they were still developing countries, they brought so much damage to the environment, so many pollutions. When, for example, the UK, not blaming them, just pointing out the fact they did contribute a lot of emissions to the world when they were developing. So every country is the same. And now developing countries are trying to provide a better life to their people. They are developing. And now developed countries are pointing fingers at developing countries, for example, India, China, for being a big polluter. So I think it's unfair they're not mentioning the debt they created. And also another fact is most of the developed countries outsourced their manufacturing to the developing countries like China, like India, Bangladesh, Vietnam, all these countries. So the developing countries are manufacturing for the developed world. That's why they are the big contributor to the world pollution. So
I'm definitely not negating this fact. But you made mention that in the industrial era, UK really contributed to the beginning of the end, so to speak, right? But you have to really think about at what stage was our human development? Even before the industrialized era, human development has gone through different stages of ingenuity, right? Now we are at a certain point in the human race, and we have seen through trial and error what we can do and what we cannot do. Before, we had that opportunity to really rethink. But now we see that there is a new way forward. So this is why I am continuously saying that we cannot put blame, because we have created this social construct through centuries. This is equally, liable. We are equally liable for that. Now we have to reconstruct the way that we move forward, the way that we define development. And that's why I think that together, just together, anything is possible.
Yeah, as you said, because every country goes through their different stage of the development in the history. So I think maybe the countries go ahead have to look back to rows behind, then give a hand, because to do so, we can work together in order and to share the same future.
You know what is missing? What is missing is an accountability police. If you have a climate accountability police, when you have that, you can go to any country and say that you have missed this mark. I will fine you for this. You have this pressure of always trying to meet this agenda, and it's a part of the framework. The reason why we have even policing is to follow a certain social norms we have put into place, right? The rules and regulations of the world. So who is the climate police here? who can enforce these rules and really enforce it. Don't talk words, but actually hold them liable so that it is towards the planet. And I believe, like I was saying, putting the planet first, the climate police would be almost like the voice of the planet.
Ruiqi, do you want to add something?
I know we talked about different sides, the historical debt, but we also have to look into the future of the scale of challenges that we are facing. 1.5 isn't an easy goal, and we need all hands on deck. And that's why I think Dee is saying that everybody should work very hard, because it's not an easy transitions. We're having 400 tons of
see, like our guest, surprising guest, is agreeing with you.
Yeah, we are emitting so much, and we have to put all this carbon back and emits much less. So that's why I'm saying that both the ones that are richer and the ones that's less capable should work together. It's true that we should have different roles. I mentioned the 100 billion US dollars. That's what matters, right? We need money to go into innovations and help countries that's most affected, the island countries that's going to need a lot of adaptation to the climate change that's already happening, relocation and finding new homes for these people, and most importantly, just like getting new technology and energies, right? So that's why rich countries should play a part, and I'm not just saying that the European, the US, they should, but I'm also thinking that like country right now has the biggest renewable energy sector in the world. We have the largest installed capacity, and we have a fully capable sector to produce cheap equipment or solar panels and help the rest of the world. So I think that we should all play a part. Even China should play a part.
Yeah,
sure.
And it gives us hope that really this recent arrangement between China and America, putting aside everything and just continuing to forge forward for the planet. And here, my guest, I would say that he is the representation of what we are fighting for. Because if we cannot create a sustainable world for us all, he will be able to survive in it at all.
Yeah, indeed. As you're cuddling with our new guests, actually we got a lot of response from our viewers. So maybe it's time for us to read out some techniques. How are they living the low carbon life? Let's take a look. So the first, her name is Jenny from Facebook. She said, I've reduced my consumption of meat, especially red meat, for many years. I think it's an easy way to protect our planet. Indeed, because we do know cows are a major contributor to the pollutions, but not blaming the cows, because we raised way too many cows just in case we are short of food one day. So maybe we need to rethink what we really need. And this is Julie from YouTube. She said, this year I switched to an electric car for my commute. Yeah, same as me. It helps me to save money. It is also environmental friendly. Indeed.
It is.
This one, I'm not sure whether I can pronounce your name right. Alu Newmay from Facebook. Reducing the carbon emissions is the need of the hour to save the planet. Just like you guys said, it is urgent. We need to do it now because we're at this timing.
It's already too late. We just need to do what we can to survive what is to come.
Yeah. And this user's name is Live Life from YouTube. Our Earth don't like destroying too much natural resources in the name of luxurious lifestyles.
Right.
Indeed.
Right.
We don't need that many material stuff to make our happy. Sometimes we have too many material stuff. You still feel, I still feel lonely.
But then it really takes us back as to what is wealth. What is true wealth?
And this is Shiran Wang from YouTube. don't put hot food in the fridge as it will make the fridge work extra hard to try and keep it cold. Really? I'm not really sure about it, but okay, but good advice. Aljana Casual. Sorry if I pronounce your name right. Correct me later in the comment section. This person said the only practical solution is to control the big polluting industries and close the ultra polluting ones.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Because if we really want to see immediate effect, we have to act as if, like the other youth activists say, as if your house is on fire. If your house is on fire, you'd put out that fire right away, right?
Yeah.
We have fires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting techniques of living low carbon life shared by our viewers. Thank all of you. Shared that your observations with us, and now comes to a special section of our program. Here on this trolley, we have so many products. Okay. These are all the gifts from our guests, from our panel today. Dee, I think you already have a gift. The most wonderful gift. The cat is what I want.
The planet does not want to leave me.
Too comfy, too warm.
Okay, you need to go now, okay?
Yeah. See, if we do save the planet, we and the cat, we can all live happily, coexist with each other.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. The reason we all brought something here is, as we said earlier, trying to encourage everyone to buy less, so you will less garbage result is, and then you know what, a lot of things, when you think it's no longer useful to you, it's probably something someone else needed the most. So instead of throwing them into the garbage, maybe we can ask someone. He's asking you to hug him. Okay, so all right, sure, join our panel.
I tried my best. I really did.
We cannot refuse this cute little thing.
Oh.
Right? Okay, so I will explain my gift first.
Okay.
This is, you see, for candles, right? So I no longer need it. I also have a cat in my apartment. The cat will play with the fire, so a lot of things I don't need anymore. But I still think it's a cool decoration. It's very colorful, and actually you don't really need to put candles in it. You still can put some pencils or something.
Yeah.
So this is my gift today. What's yours, Ruiqi?
So I bought 3 things for our friends here. First is a book, and the second is 2 notebooks. This is actually a gift from another friend of mine. She's a vegetarian. I know that some viewers has mentioned that she stopped consumption red meat. In fact, our diet has a lot to do with our climate as well, and the food and agricultural system interacts with our GHG emission systems, and I really liked it, so I'm gonna give this to you.
Thank you.
Yeah. You know what? I think that other than what we can do, the most impactful thing is also trying to influence others. So it's a gift from my friend. I'm trying to pass it on to you.
Wow.
I think as a friend, to tell your friends about it, tell your parents about climate change, and choose to work for a nonprofit or a company that's more climate friendly. So a lot of things that you can do as an individual, not just. We don't just need to depend on the world leaders, of course, but they do have their responsibilities, but we can also make our parts.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
What about
this is
you,
what
Jacqueline?
I bring with me. This one is a magazine about the Antarctic exploration.
Show us to
Yeah.
to our viewers, to the camera.
Yeah, so I think you will love Antarctica and the glaciers from this book. And one another actually is chosen by my daughter, because we often organize some parties for the kids to exchange their old toys. So she's always be the active one for support. And this one, so it's my daughter's birthday party, so we were it again, exchange old toys. So welcome join us.
Dee, what's your gift?
My gift is in two parts, and it's actually quite sentimental. Now, as you can see for this lovely bag, it was handmade by women in Yi Jiaojiao. It's in Yingxia, China, and Yingxia, China has a town called Ningning Town, and it is the model for poverty alleviation for China. And why I brought this is because this is a representation of what a determined people can do if they put their mind to it. So I see that in 2020 that China totally and completely reduced or eradicated poverty. That's why I believe that they can equally come to 1.5 and even lower. Now, the next gift is close to my heart. It is actually a beach stone from the Commonwealth of Dominica. Yes. The last time I was home, it was just before COVID-19, and I wanted to keep something with me to remind me of my island. So I took this stone with me to remind me of the resilience of my country, of my people, of my region. And as you can see from the shape of the stone, it's not a perfectly pretty stone like the smooth displayed stones you see everywhere, but it also tells a story as to what it has been through, the different challenges that my island, my country has been through because of the different climate issues. So I brought this to just bring a little piece of the Caribbean and also to show that we are warriors. And this is to remind you what you are fighting for.
Wow, very powerful speech. Thank you. Yes. Thank all of you for bringing the speech. Later, the gifts. Later, we will exchange the gifts. Yeah. So, dear viewers who are watching this live stream, if there are some few takeaways from today's live stream, I think it's just like what we are doing now. Reduce consumption, reduce, reuse, and also recycle. The 3 R's is the main takeaways from this. So buy less, and you don't have to throw away so many things. And thank you for watching, and do stay tuned with Chat Room, because in the next few weeks we'll continue to bring you more debates on heated topics. Stay tuned. Bye. Thank you for watching.